Back when I used to do a lot of work on TV, there was this van that would drive around, full of people with leaf blowers, and they would basically just start up the leaf blowers and leaf blow pavement, make as much racket as soon as they saw a camera and a mic, and you'd have to pay them 50 quid to get them to piss off. That's literally what's happened just now. I decided to go live. My neighbors upstairs are doing DIY, hoovering, neighbor downstairs is banging something, everything's going wrong. So if you hear a lot of noise, that's what it is. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. There's a lot more of you than I expected, which is awesome. Yes, you are on screen. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I thought about putting something together on OSINT just for a couple of mates and decided to tweet about it, and all you guys seem to have piled on, so thank you for that. That's awesome. I'm going to try and read some of these comments. Okay, everybody's shitposting. Great. Yes, I do look as if I'm an extra from Pirates of the Caribbean. Thank you very much for that. Let me turn down the audio a little bit. Is that better, Mike? I'm going to assume it is. OG fans are here. Excellent. Okay, so I I'm going to basically talk a little bit about OSINT, and there's not going to be a massive theme to it all. One of the biggest problems about doing OSINT for TV shows is they tend to give you specific targets that are actually extras or film and TV extras. So what they've done is they've made their profiles very easily searchable. They've locked them down to a certain degree so you can see some things that they do but not others, and it's not a really good example of how to do OSINT. So I thought I'd throw together a stream. um, I am going to be looking at some people's Twitter accounts, some people's Facebook accounts. My goal here is not to completely dox someone on stream. So if I go too far in one profile, you might see me switch to another account or see me switch to something else. Yes, that is up here. That is my squirrel. She is called Smudge. She is fantastic. So yeah, I'm going to be doing person-based OSINT, not company-based OSINT. There is a place for company-based OSINT, but personally, I'm much more a fan of finding specific targets or individuals rather than doing an OSINT audit of an infrastructure or entire company. I just don't find that stuff as fun or as interesting. A couple of shout outs, and you'll understand why in a second. Viking, Rag, Stu, Alan, the guys from the Many Hats Club, OSINT team, those guys are awesome. If you have a second, go and follow them on Twitter. They do a trace slash CTF every single time it comes out, and they absolutely wipe the floor. And that's kind of brings me on to my first point in the introduction: is misconceptions about OSINT. It's really easy to look at that team or Viking, for example, who is really prolific. You spend 5 minutes with a guy and you understand how good he is at OSINT and what he can achieve. And everybody goes, "Oh, I'm never going to be as good as that," or I'm never going to be a Viking. The problem with that is that it doesn't actually matter. Everyone brings something to the table. So it doesn't matter whether your background is in policing or whether your background is in furniture sales. If you're looking for something about a specific target and you're like, hey, I remember doing this thing years ago, kind of like Slumdog Millionaire, right? You're just kind of finding a way to get information quicker. If you already come to the table with that knowledge, even if you don't know how Python works, even if you don't know how to use TweetDeck or didn't even know TweetDeck existed and you're a bit embarrassed about it, who cares? Like, you're bringing something to the table. So it's really easy to get into this position where you're like, well, I'm not an expert in it and I don't know anything. I feel like that when I do OSINT gigs. It really, really, it's imposter syndrome at its core. So yeah, if there's one thing you can take away from this, it's imposter syndrome does exist, and even people at Viking probably get it on a daily basis. So don't worry about it. Who you know is more important than what you know sometimes. I'll get into that in a bit later. The person's in the room, so they understand exactly what I'm talking about. Um, Another problem with OSINT I find is it's difficult to know when to stop. When you're constantly searching a target, especially over a long period of time, whether it be a couple of days, weeks, months, or even a year, it's difficult to know when to give up and when to say, hey, that's it, all done. I'm not gonna look at this target anymore. You kind of want to live and breathe and live in their world. So it's difficult to know when to actually give up, but you need to find a place where you're gonna go, right, okay, I found what I needed to find. Everything additional, yes, it's all cream on top, but I don't really like let's put a pin in it and stop right there. It's really difficult to find that point. The same way that I have a problem with drinking, it's very difficult for me to stop. I'll just want to keep going and enjoy my night, and then it's only when it's gone too far do I realize I should have stopped 2 or 3 beers ago. Think about that. And similarly to the don't know when to stop, it's okay to find dead ends. Like the amount of times I've done an OSINT job and it's dead end after dead end, and you deliver the work to the client and say, I'm really sorry, there's nothing here. Like the answers you wanted me to find are not here. Sorry. And they've come back and they went, yeah, that's fine. We just wanted to make sure. We wanted to, we just wanted someone to look at it. Great. That's awesome. But I felt guilty about delivering that piece of work because I didn't feel as if I'd actually done anything. But that's okay too. Knowing when to stop, walk away, drop everything and go, I didn't get the result I wanted, but I got a result. Still a result at the end of the day. Best OS, best tool. I've heard discussions about these in the past. Oh my God, what operating system are you using to do all this? What cool funky tools? Do you know what? Use the tool that suits you. Tools are great. Tools allow you to do things a million different ways and quickly. But for the most part, if you use a tool badly, it can really screw up your search results. I'll show you that in a minute with Multigo. I use Multigo to document and track stuff, but honestly, I don't tend to use the transforms very often because they tend to pull things that are just loosely related to your target. If you do that too many times, you end up with this massive spider graph that you need to manually go through and check stuff. It just becomes a pain. So personally, I don't use tools like that. I use other tools, which I'll come on to later. But for the most part, use what you like, use what you know. If you're quite happy using Internet Explorer to do all your stuff, great, knock yourself out because you can probably find stuff. I don't get involved in any of those debates. I use basically what I like and I use what I know. That's pretty much it. I also decided a while ago that I was going to start using burner VMs, so a virtual machine that was specifically set up for an individual piece of OSINT work, purely because at the end of the job you could put a pin in the machine, just shut it down, deliver that machine as part of your evidence. If the client never opens it up, fine, whatever, or you can document it yourself. But having a look at a virtual machine back in time, you'll be able to look through the bash history or the terminal history. You'll be able to look through the browser history as an entity, as a single little setup. Wow, that would be really useful. And snapshot that stuff. If you've got a setup that you like running Ubuntu, make a virtual machine, install all the tools you need on it, install everything you need. I love the fact that Multigo and a lot of these tools that I'm about to cover are in Kali by default, which is awesome. Grab a copy of Kali, shove it on a virtual machine, make sure it's got all your credentials in it or whatever APIs you want to use or whatever scripts you want to use. Get all that stuff on, snapshot it, and that is your baseline machine that you use to then go and do other gigs. Yeah, I think that's a better way of doing it. But tonight I'm going to be using my Mac because I'm comfortable on it and I'm one of the Apple fanboys. So I am going to go to Multigo. Multigo's a great tool if you've never used it before. It's basically entity modeling. You can model so much on this. It is unreal. And one of the big problems I've found when doing OSINT investigations is it's really easy to get swept away in new stuff. So it's really easy for you to go, oh, that's that person, and she's related to him, and they went on holiday in France, and then there's this restaurant in France. And then you go and get a beer, you come back, and all of a sudden you've forgotten how you made those links. You know they exist, you know they're somewhere. So if there's one piece of advice I could give you is note this stuff down as soon as possible. So for example, as soon as you've got someone, you could type in person. You'll need to bear with me. I have bought a new keyboard that is getting no keycaps on it. So if you find one person, let's start building up now. Even though it's ultimately pointless, even though you're never going to use that person in the end, start building up those links between person A and person B. Do whatever arrow direction you want. You know, whether it's this person's related to this person, that makes sense in your head, or this person comes from this person, so the arrow goes the other way. Like, start building up these chains of information as soon as possible. Yes, it's going to slow things down. Yes, it's going to be a massive pain in the ass when you're jumping between Maltego and Facebook, or Maltego and Twitter. Massive pain, I know, and I don't do it all the time. But wow, once you get to that point of being able to kind of play both at the same time, when you look back at it in an hour, when you've gone to get that beer, you suddenly go, hey, wait a minute. I remember that tentative link. I remember that I found this link because of Facebook, because of this particular post on Facebook. You put the URL in, and away you go. Maltego is an absolutely brilliant tool, but again, it's one of these tools that you spend a lot of time playing around in it. You can quickly get lost in it. So I'd absolutely recommend the first time you use Maltego not to be on a job or when you're actually doing a piece of OSINT, but play around with it. Actually start building yourself up. Like, you know, let's draw a company. Let's Twitter. So we've got an organization. Twitter was insider threat last night. Hint, hint. So let's actually start pulling together this little map things out. When someone phones me and they say, hey, we've got this thing going on here, we've just been attacked, or we've just been hacked, this is what's happened, here's an email that comes in, I'll boot up a copy of Maltego and I'll just start noting things down. I find diagrams so much more fun and friendly to be able to actually track where information's come from, how information came in. Hang on a second, was that an email address? Okay, right, so the email address is related to that company. It was Steve's email address. Okay, and Steve sent an email out to John Doe. That was a bit of a problem because it contained malware. Person A is the person that's phoning me. Just building this stuff up, it's an absolute nightmare, but when you go back to that case in a month when you want to write a talk on it, holy shit, does it make so much more sense. Another tool I use quite a lot is, believe it or not, if this then that. Now, I like the idea of simplicity. Yes, I can go and write a script that is going to suddenly chuck all my stuff into Discord or Slack, or I can chuck all that stuff into email. But do you know what? If this and then that's out there, connect it to your Twitter account, get it to monitor a website when something changes, get it to bang that stuff into Discord. Let's spin up a Discord. How long is that going to take? Open Discord, spin up a random Discord server, create a new server. Why not? Okay, so we've got a Discord server here that's purely just me in it. We can create a new channel, call it OSINT job 1. Create a channel, and this is going to be where all the information is collected when I'm working on this job. So if I'm on a call to the client, I'm going to go, right, Peter got the email at 15:36 on 16th February. Okay, and now when I go back to look at that, no, dinosaur is not on the banned word list. Marmite is though. But anytime I go back to look at, oh God, what time did Peter get that email? Or, do I need to call the client again and go, remind me what happened there? I've got a running log of everything that's going on. And combining that with something like if this, then that, if I'm monitoring a Twitter account, I just log in there, tell it to look at that Twitter account. Anytime there's a new tweet, shove it into this channel in the Discord. Just shove it straight in. I don't need to look at it, and it's cached. So even if that Twitter account deletes that tweet, like the Bitcoin shenanigans that happened last night, even if that tweet is deleted, it's still going to be cached in Discord. It's still going to be there. It's still going to have expanded as well. So if it contains additional media, that will be cached, especially if you run Discord in the background on your machine and you just leave your machine on. It's always going to be there. And it's helpful to have that stuff in a timeline, especially when you start adding things in like email monitoring. You add in domain monitoring. So let me know when a domain drops or a domain suddenly disappears from the web, or when the whois information changes. All that stuff can go in there, and it's date stamped. It gives you an idea. And when you want to give something to the client and say, here's all the work we did, then someone getting a choppy stream. Sorry about that. Bear with me. See if I can make it a little bit more stable. It's okay now. Everything's cool. Awesome. Right. But yeah, if you've got a Discord running that's just got tons of nice one, Jen. If you've got a Discord running, it's just got everything going into it. Obviously, don't stream the server's ID, don't stream the server's name, don't stream the server's invite link, because people will join and start posting in it. But it's really useful if you're using a tool like this to collect ideas when you're on your own. It's even more sensible when you're working with people. So if you're working with another team member, if you're working with someone else, you've probably been there where you're sharing stuff over Discord DMs, you're sharing stuff over WhatsApp, you're sharing stuff over Twitter DMs. At the end of the day, you're just going to end up trying to go back 6 months later and go, who was it that found that link? I've been there, like going back 6 months and going, so how did we make that tentative link between person A and account B and the Spotify account? Where did we get all that stuff? How did we figure that out? If you use something like Discord to just bang everything in alongside Multigo running in the background, it really helps just having something there that you can refer to 24/7. And screenshot absolutely everything if you can. If you can as well, record your screen. I can't tell you the number of times that I've thought, hey, it would be really good if I could see what my thought process was, or at least my web searches, like browser history search. Go back, dump your browser history, warts and all, dump the whole thing. Yeah, okay, fine. You've got a bit of an issue if you're using your own browser and your own machine. It's probably got all your autofill. It's got all your searches on it. Make a new profile. Google Chrome is super stupidly easy to make a new profile. So I made one for this stream called Streaming, which the little pop-up's not shown, unfortunately, but if you can see the little penguin up the top, that's just a profile I made this morning to dump everything into, and it doesn't have any of my history from my other profile. It doesn't have any of my links. It's got none of the bookmark stuff. Literally create a new profile on Chrome, shove all that OSINT job stuff in there, away you go. So yeah, screenshot, record, just don't be afraid to record everything. There's nothing wrong with that. At worst, you're going to just ditch it in 6 months, but at best, it's going to be that one piece of evidence that you missed. So before more people join the random Discord that I created purely for this. Tools. So I wanted to talk about actual tools and not just tools like Maltego and using a Chrome profile, but something that's actually quite fun is something called Sherlock. Now, if you haven't used tools like Sherlock before, they're incredibly fun and incredibly good. Sherlock is available on GitHub. The link is in the stream link above. To download this, you're going to need Python, you're going to need a few other bits and pieces before it runs, but I absolutely love this tool. One of the things it's good at is searching for So I'm going to search for my username at most common services online and see whether it's available. I'm adding the parameter print found to show me only the found usernames. And we're going to Audio Jungle, Bitbucket. Okay. Anything else? There should be a lot more than that, obviously. There we go. So Audio Jungle, Bitbucket, Crack, Discus, Docker, Duolingo, Giphy, GitHub, GitLab, If This and That, Instagram, list goes on. Most of these I know about, most of these I'm aware of. Wikipedia was one that I completely forgotten about. No, that account is under a different name. But yeah, so if you do a kind of username search on a target and suddenly find that they've got an account at Bitbucket, they've got an account at GitLab, they've got an account at GitHub, you know, they've got an account at some of these technical places, Keybase, you suddenly know that your target is probably technical. Similarly, if they've got an account at MySpace, it's kind of like when you use Have I Been Pwned to find out the age of an email address. If they've got an account at MySpace, either they're really, really, really keen on MySpace and like it and have just signed up to it, or there's someone from my generation that's decided to, hey, you know, I signed up for MySpace way back in the day, never changed my username at it. You can tell my OPSEC is absolutely terrible here. Absolutely terrible. My name is everywhere. I've even got my own Slack workspace, which I've completely forgotten about. But this stuff is really useful if you've got a username that's like, you know, Alonzo Big Dick 420. You can throw that stuff in there and go, okay, where is Alonzo's usernames? Let's try that just now, actually. This is also quite useful. I had a chat with someone last night actually, where we sat there and said, you know, give them some OSINT tips, give them some tips in keeping themselves safe and the usual stuff that you always do. And I kind of mentioned, hey, you know, you should basically hack yourself first. You should go and look yourself up online. And it suddenly occurred to me that most people don't think about doing that. Most people think, okay, I've locked down my social media profiles, that's fine. And they don't tend to actually sit there and go, okay, I'm going to attack myself as if I'm an outside person. Wow, Tinder, that is great. That is actually fantastic. So Alonzo Big Dick 420, go tinder.com. Don't delay, buy today. Ah, I am not opening it, Sticks. Not a chance. So, Sherlock's a great tool. I absolutely love the fact that you can just print found. You can print everything. So if you use, instead of the -- print found parameter, if you just take all that away and go for Python Sherlock username, you'll get all the results and it'll tell you not found and found. I am not opening it, no matter how hard you try. Another great tool that I absolutely adore is a tool called Twint. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it, but Twint is absolutely amazing. It doesn't use the Twitter API, so you don't need an account. You don't need to sign up for the API and the developer stuff. You can literally just run this clear. No authentication, no API, no limits. They weren't bullshitting when they put this together. So it can fetch almost all tweets, so it even gets round the whole API limit. It's really, really quick to use. The the amount of options that they give you, usernames, you can search for specific words, you can search for specific people who are verified people who are tweeting specific things, such as a Bitcoin hash address, for example. You can just whack it in, tell it to output in text, tell it to output in JSON, CSV, whatever you want, it's going to do it in seconds. It's absolutely fantastic. You can geographically locate, so you can say, I want all tweets around this area. I mean, I've tried doing that in TweetDeck, and you just sit there for hours trying to craft these really long and unwieldy rules. Has its own Python library. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You can just import it into your own project and play around with it. I love the terminal usage of it though, so that's where I tend to do most of my stuff. This is going to take forever to run, but we'll go for it anyway. So let's run a twint search on my username. And I'm going to kill it here because my tweets go back for around about 10 years. I'm not going to let it run. But it's pretty cool that you can pull out a tweet ID, date and time, timestamp. Obviously, you've got the username, and you can see the tweet context. Now, this isn't just tweets. This is tweets and replies. So it's really, really good for completely and utterly scraping someone's profile. You can do the same with followers. You can do the same with following, likes, you name it. It's really, really powerful. And one of the jobs that I ended up using it on recently, well, I say jobs, it was more for just interest, really. Most of you may remember this tweet, the arrogant and offensive, can you imagine having to work with these truth twisters tweet by the Cabinet Office. Now, the minute I saw that come through, everybody suddenly jumped on Twitter and was like, oh my God, the civil service is hacked. Same as last night, actually, when all the celebrity accounts were suddenly tweeting, or verified accounts, I should say, were suddenly tweeting about Bitcoin. You know, there was people that were jumping up and down going, I bet you it's a third-party service that's hacked. Well, no, the sources from the tweets last night were all, Twitter for web, so that was interesting. But pulling it back to the civil service one, this was really curious to me because I automatically saw this and thought, that's going to be if this and that's compromised or a third-party service. And then I saw Twitter for iPhone and thought, oh, that's interesting, because it's not often that UK civil service accounts or government accounts are actually on people's iPhones, which is slightly concerning, but putting that aside for a second. And I decided to have a look using Twint at the Cabinet Office's account. Now, the Cabinet Office's account, if we go back to the browser briefly, we can see it was Twitter for iPhone, it was tweeted out as. And if we look at the Cabinet Office's tweets, a lot of them usually are Twitter for web or Twitter for advertisers. So this was really interesting that night when that tweet came through. I thought, hey, wait a minute, most of these tweets that are coming through aren't from iPhones, they're from a web app. Is this an old employee? Think HMV firing spree a couple of years ago, or 10 or 12 years ago, I think now. Is this an old disgruntled employee that's annoyed at what's going on? Were they logged in and were they just waiting for their chance? Another web app. So the night this all kicked off, I decided to run Twint on it, scraped all the tweets and thought it would be really cool if you could do a source parameter. That would be really, really cool. I can't believe that's not in it. Guess what? It absolutely is in it. So if you just type in source, Twitter for iPhone, then output that to text file. So cabinet iPhone.txt, going to run it. It's going to scrape all the tweets that have a source of Twitter for iPhone. And if we go back up and go, okay, so let's do Android now. Okay, so not much. It took less time to run the Android one than it did to run the iPhone one. So if we pull out those tweets, gonna cheat a little bit. Put these in here. So this is the Android output. It's very, very difficult to read, but it doesn't take a genius to realize there's only one tweet there. They don't often tweet from Androids. If they do, then it's, it seems to be one off in 2019. Fine. It could be a tablet or something they had on site one day. Fine, whatever. Not interested in that. The interesting one is the iPhone. So again, it's difficult to read, but each line is a new tweet, and you can literally pull out these tweet IDs, go to Twitter /cabinet office or whatever your target's name is /status, shove in that tweet ID. Okay. UK government is committed to ensuring business confidence, yada, yada, yada. Nice little friendly, one of those pose pictures. Hey, we're all doing work here. And at the bottom is Twitter for iPhone. So that's the most recent, or one of the most recent tweets back in 2019, 8/10 from the Cabinet Office. This one as well. This was in 2020, 1st of 24th. Let's have a look at this. Okay. And this is going somewhere, by the way. So we look at the most recent tweet that it found, the 24th of January at 5:10. We have a look at that tweet. Okay, so we have 3 tweets at the moment. We have this one, we have that one, and that one. All of them are tweeted by iPhone. All of them are following a pattern, which is text at the top, full stop, a new paragraph, or potentially a blank space, and then another paragraph again. This is all following the same pattern. Let's see what one of the Android tweets looks like, just for comparison. Wall of text. Okay. Interesting. Let's grab one at random. Cabinet Office 1 hour ago, wall of text. This one's a bit more interesting because it's text, space, text, space, text. Again, this one's following a pattern. That one is kind of similar as well. These 2 paragraphs, the small things like that are totally meaningless. But when you look at what's been tweeted by the Android versus the iPhone, you notice a lot of patterns. You notice the fact that this person, whoever this was, tweets with 1 paragraph and then a space and then another paragraph, whereas the Android tweets were all wall of text. The Twitter for web ones as well tend to be either laid out similarly to that more recently, but at the time when I ran this, when it first came out, you were getting more wall of text style tweets in Twitter for web. So while you can't look at something and go, yeah, that's absolutely the same person, I'd bet money on the fact that this tweet is by the same person that wrote this tweet. I would almost bet my bottom dollar on it that the person in this room, because they're out and about, they're not in the office, not using Twitter for web, they're not using their desktop or laptop machines, they're clearly out trying to take a publicity photo. I guarantee you the person that sent that arrogant and offensive tweet is probably someone in this room. Maybe not pictured, but behind behind the camera. If someone wants to try and reverse the glass and see what the reflection is, then be my guest. Fired advisor. Probably someone in this room then. Absolutely. In the room in the tweet, not in this room at the moment, just to be clear. Or maybe they are. I don't know. It's the wonders of the internet. But yeah, Twint is fantastic. You can pull out so much. You can pull out the source. So if you're looking for, let's say, a job where someone's been using a third-party compromised service to tweet stuff, but they're not using Twitter for web or Twitter for iPhone, you can immediately go look at the difference in the language, look at the difference in the way they use it. This is clearly that it's 3 people that run the account, but we know that Scott's the one that's using it because he always puts things in bunny ears, doubles down every 2 minutes, and won't shut up. That's a major red flag right there. And I almost get banned off Twitch for swearing too much, so I'm going to stop. Yeah, so Twint, absolutely go ahead, download it, run against your own account, run against your friend's account, see what you can dig up. Absolutely use that. It's a fantastic tool and it's free. Like, what more do you want? And speaking of kind of free but kind of not, one tool that I found quite useful in my searches. By the way, Jen, if you're planning on calling that number, that's a scam number for some company down in London, so please go and waste their time. But there's a couple of tools out there like People which are pay for access, and you have to like say to them what your use case is. Totally OSINT stuff. No, yeah, nothing weird. But they're an aggregate of CRM data, and it's so useful to use. When you punt in a random number, you can find out more about it. Nothing has come back. Okay, quite disappointing. Fine. That was a scam number that called a few people in London today. It was automated scam, so it's not even a registered one. But I'm going to come back to People in a minute, but I just wanted to kind of bridge over that a little bit, that there are paid tools out there, and I don't mind using a paid tool. I think People costs me around a couple of dollars a month, $2 or $3 when it equates out, because every search is like 0.05 cents or something. And I use this thing religiously. If I get a phone call from someone I don't know, I'll use it. If I get an email address from someone, I'm going to put it into People to find out, okay, what's your Twitter account? What's your Facebook account? Not to creep on them, but more, I've never heard from you before. I don't believe you are who you say you are. I'm going to go and do a wee bit of investigation. It's an absolutely fantastic tool, and I'll be using People a lot tonight. So we will absolutely come back to that. Speaking of tools that you can use, but some people don't like them, or they're a bit crappy, this tool is absolutely well and truly dead at this point. This tool has been abandoned by its the original author, but I've got a working copy of it in a laptop, and I always find myself going back to it, purely because it gives you a nice output. If you throw it a Twitter account, you do need an API key for this to function, but it works on Flickr as well, and it works on Instagram and a few other social networks. You throw it can you run People, please? Okay. But you throw it a username, and it will output dates and times when this person tweeted. It will try and give you an idea of what geographical location they're in based on their Twitter storms. So if they're going to tweet between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. People is paid to use, by the way. I just want to point that out. But it is really, really cheap. It's ridiculously cheap. You do need to sign up for an account. I would recommend, if you can, absolutely do it. You'll pay $5 a year for it, basically, for the low amount that you get to use it. It's so useful. I've had a People account for a few years now. Never have I once batted an eye at the bill, and I'm a penny pincher. I don't like spending money on stuff, and I've never. No, it's something like that. 0.0. It's ridiculously cheap. Actually, let's have a look. Let's have a look and see what. Go to People API pricing. 10 cents, 20 cents, and 40 cents. A bit more than what I estimated it as, which is fine, but it's still ridiculously cheap. Absolutely ridiculously cheap for the amount of information you could potentially get out of it. I will be running a few more numbers through this in a minute, or a few more email addresses, which will result in output. Um, Not trying to dox anyone in the stream or not trying to dox anyone live, but they are scam numbers or well-known numbers, so they're meant to respond to stuff, and you can see the output of it, and it's just really handy. It's a nice added bonus if you can categorically go, okay, people has a CRM lookup and match for this number and this email address. It's nice for it to be able to tie together. But yeah, creepy. I like creepy. I liked its idea. The whole point was it was just basically a wrapper for Twitter search. You could throw a username, it would output all the tweets with locations and actually plot them on a nice, easy to use, friendly map. Back when we were filming in TV, they loved this stuff more than they liked, the green screen terminal, because the green screen terminal is sexy, but it's not really easy to broadcast that live on TV. So having something like Creepy, where you've got a nice map that you can zoom in and even Street View, right down to the Street View and look at someone's address, they absolutely adored it. So I it came with Kali years ago. I don't think it's in Kali now, based on the age of it. I've Yes, I like Creepy. That's a quote. You can quote me on that. I quite like it because it does output a really nice HTML when you run analysis on a target, and says, here's the dates and times, here's all the devices they've tweeted from, and work from Android, iPhone. So it's a really nice way to easily run analysis on a Twitter account. Combining that with Twint and a few other tools like Sherlock or something else, you can build up a picture really quickly. And it comes back to someone in here might absolutely hate the fact I use Creepy and it's garbage. Someone might hate the fact that I'm using Twint and not doing all this stuff manually, or using TweetDeck. I still get the results. So, you don't need to be the best, you just need to be first sometimes. That's not an excuse for cutting corners. But yeah, EXIF is really fun as well. I'm sure most of you know what EXIF is and how to use it, but if you're going to send me a document or a PowerPoint or an image, don't care what it is, I am EXIFing that. EXIF tool is available. Again, it's on the stream resources up there. If you're sending me let me try and find a file. Okay, choose this one. You can throw any file into EXIF tool, or tell you a ton of information about it. It's great for images. You can get geolocation sometimes on images. You can definitely get who it was that wrote it, who's the original author. Microsoft Word documents are really fun because they can tell you how many saves it's had, who was the original author, what PC it was made on, what version of Word it was made on, what the original creation date was, how many times it was modified or saved over, what template it came from, stuff like that. Let's throw it a PowerPoint that I made a while ago. Talks. And see how well it does. Okay, so EXIF tool, and let's throw it this PowerPoint file from a while ago. Okay, manager awesome PPT. Okay, company awesome PPT. That is probably the theme of the template that I've used. I've downloaded it from somewhere. Last printed 2019, create date 2014, modify date 2019. Microsoft Macintosh PowerPoint. So if you're going to send me a document that's created on Macintosh PowerPoint, I know you've got a Mac, I know you've got an Apple. Nothing much more interesting there. Multimedia clips, yeah, okay. Nothing amazing there. It's up to date, app version. Cool. Like, you send me something, I get documents sent to me all the time. Actually, the other day, someone sent me a screenshot, like a picture or something, put it into a Word document and then emailed me the Word document rather than just sending me the picture. No idea why. Fine, whatever works for you. First thing I did was downloaded that Word document, shoved it through XFTool just to see who's the original author, who wrote that document, how many edits have there been, has it, is it got any juicy information in it? It's always worthwhile throwing stuff through an XFTool before you send it out as well, just to make sure that, let's say you're using an alt, or your name isn't well known in the community and you go by an alias, and you suddenly send out a document that's got stamped everywhere. Who's the manager? Scott McGrady. Who's the subject? Scott McGrady. Who's the creator? Scott McGrady. What's the keywords? And it's just your name constantly. That's going to be quite revealing. There's been documents I've looked at for fraud cases years ago where basically they'd done everything right. They'd managed to scam about £1.3 million out of a client. Not only the client, they kind of played both ends of that. They played the client and they played the actual the person they were pretending to buy the car on behalf of. So they emailed the client and said, "Hey, we have this car at a great deal. Send us 200 grand." And they emailed the people selling the car, or quote unquote selling the car, and said, "Hey, I want to buy the car and I'll pay you like 3 times the amount it's worth, but you need to send me money first," all that kind of stuff. And they made off with a ton of money. The one thing that snagged them, though, was the Word document they sent to prove it was real, because they left on their actual real name and their location. It won't take a genius to figure out where that location, what that name was, but yeah, it was pretty bad. It's a simple thing. Just dump your XF. If you don't know how to do it, Google it. It's really straightforward. There are a ton of services out there you can upload documents to, and they strip metadata, before they store that stuff. So be very wary of that. But XF is absolutely the number one tool that I'm always going to use if you send me something, whether it's pictures or PowerPoints. I'm shoving it through. Another tool I seem to try and use quite a lot is Have I Been Pwned? Purely because you can tell a lot about an email address if it's in Have I Been Pwned, and you can tell a lot about it if it isn't in there. And what I mean by that is, if we use, what was the, let's see if Alonso's got a Google Mail account. Okay, this is weird to me. If I'm dealing with someone in our industry, unless I know that they've recently set up a new Gmail account, or they're using a lot of Burner somewhere or something, if I'm emailing you and you don't show up in Have I Been Pwned, I'm really suspicious of that email address. It means it's either been created recently, or you're just so boring you're not using it for anything. Yes, I know we've got aliases and stuff like that you can use with Google Mail, and I don't know whether Troy has the Gmail Google Mail filter. Don't know whether he does, but I know about all that. That's fine. But if I'm emailing you and you don't come back, then it's definitely suspicious to me, because what I'm expecting is you to appear, if you're of a certain age and you've still got the same email address, I expect you to be on MySpace. I expect you to be on a couple of breach lists, or at least a couple of spam mailer databases. Most of us, okay, fine, we're going to use different email addresses at different services, but for the most part, if your main email address doesn't come back with stuff, someone said try Hotmail. Okay, fine. No, nothing there either. Could Alonso be a UK person? No. Sadly, no. Alonso is safe. Alonso is probably not an existing email address. But yeah, I use Have I Been Pwned to try and figure out, okay, I've got an email from this person. It looks suspicious. It looks dodgy. Throw it in here. They're not in any breaches. This could have just been literally created 2 days ago or 10 days ago. Gmail versus Google Mail is different. Yeah, I was wondering about that, because one thing that does bother me in a lot of services is you can sign up with @gmail.com and it treats it as one email address. You can sign up with googlemail.com and it treats it as another. But my Google Mail address has a period in it, and a lot of websites treat with and without as different email addresses, but Google doesn't. So you can literally, you know, this can be your email address at one website, but Google treats it all as the same, which is quite interesting. You're not in there. Yeah, I expect you not to be in there though. That's a difference here. But we'll be coming back to Have I Been Pwned, and I'm going to use that in a couple of searches. I absolutely adore it. I think Troy is an absolute legend for putting that up for free and being so super cool with how he wants it to progress and where he wants it to go next. Massive props to him. TweetDeck is absolutely another useful tool that I've always got running. If you remember when I said that having Discord running in the background with if this and that, and it's going to dump cached tweets in there, that this does the exact same thing. If you've got TweetDeck running in the background on your machine as an app, it's going to be constantly dumping and caching those tweets. So even if those tweets are deleted by the original person, you can still see them here on the TweetDeck stream or your individual columns. I use that a lot, especially with the filters. Last night I put this one together. This is one of my alt Twitter accounts, but I put this together just as an example. Let's look for the blockchain address and filter it by verified users. You can monitor it. You can put sounds on here as well, which, do you know what, sometimes I love the techie, really stupidly techie solutions that dump to console and output to log files. Sometimes I just want it to run silently until it needs my attention. So I'll literally just go, okay, when stuff comes up, I want you to ping me a sound, and I'm going to have a look at TweetDeck and then jump on this case again. TweetDeck looks like a baby tool, and yeah, for the most part it is, but damn, it's really, really, really useful. You can do so much with TweetDeck. You can watch specific users like yourself or my actual account. Add column. So you can watch actual accounts. And the one thing I really adore about TweetDeck is the ability to completely clear a timeline. Yeah, I know TweetDeck has dark mode. I literally set this up 10 minutes before the stream. Settings. Dark. There. Happy? I fixed it. Okay, it's no longer light mode. It's dark now. Okay. I'll wait until you see the iPhone. It's even worse. Yes, that's all Twitter account for me, Mike. Use it, like Ray said, to fight with myself on a regular basis. But TweetDeck, absolutely worth its weight in gold. I'm surprised it's a free tool. It just, wow. It's just fantastic. Being able to just have unlimited expansion on columns, lay everything out, monitor stuff as it comes through, watch for various trends, have that running in the background, don't worry about it. Fantastic. Okay. Everything goes in dark mode from now on. Noted. And obviously you've got things like Wayback Machine, which when a Twitter account goes dark is deleted. I think I tweeted about this the other day. There was some woman that was claiming that Google was, or Twitter was removing all references to the British soldiers, and it was really, really horrible. It was nothing to do with that. They deleted her full account. They didn't delete that one video. They deleted her full account because she was racist and she was horrible about people, but blamed Twitter for deleting the video. So out of curiosity, I found her old Twitter handle, looked back at her tweet history using Google Cache and Wayback Machine, and yeah, there's no wonder she was yeeted off the platform. But yeah, and yeah, so Mike, this is one of my alts. This is one that B's actually been using to test stuff out on, which is pretty cool. And it's literally, it sits there. If I want to see how a tweet looks when I tweet it, fine. If I want to monitor someone, I don't use this account in case it gets traced back to me. I use burners. Now, burners are fantastic I appreciate everybody's coming in here at different levels, and some of you are just going, I know all this stuff before. Some of you have never heard about this, but I wanted to show you some pretty cool burner tricks. So I use an app called On Off. If you're trying to sign up for a burner Twitter account, it's an absolute nightmare because you often need an email address and a phone number. There was a television show I worked on. It was kind of like Watchdog, but not Watchdog. Think investigations. You'll get the idea. And they were going out every day and buying a brand new phone from cash converters or from like CEX and shoving a brand new SIM card in it. And they were complaining it was getting too expensive to run this because they'd have to put a 99 pence, pay £1 for a SIM card, put it in, top it up with £10, pay as you go, and then keep buying these as soon as they'd done like research or text a dodgy dealer, caravans and stuff like that. They were like, hey, we want to buy this caravan, but they were really wanting to just turn up the cameras. Then they would have to basically destroy that SIM card and buy another one. So they were burning through these at a massive rate. And I was like, why don't you just use something like On Off? On Off's great, and I'm going to slide this over and it's suddenly going to get bombarded with calls, isn't it? But On Off's great because you can literally go on, buy a new number, buy again, buy again. Okay. Now all of a sudden I've got two numbers. And I can turn off calls, and I can turn off messages, and I can turn off that number completely, so I'm not going to get interrupted. But the coolest part of this is it comes through to your phone. I mean, there's no SIM card in this phone just now, but if I was to get a phone call on one of those numbers, I'll turn it back on because I'm sure someone will call or text. On Off text me on one of the numbers. You're purchasing a new On Off number. Cool. So yeah, if I wanted to, I can just use that number to call outbound, inbound, to send text messages, and sign up to WhatsApp. So earlier I signed up to WhatsApp using one of the burner on-off numbers. Not a problem. Completely blank profile. Cool. Started adding people. Yes, my name is Philip Schofield. Don't ask too many questions about that one. But it's really cool. And when you sign up for a Twitter account, you can just simply give it the on-off number, chuck it in a month, or keep it even. Turn off the calls and notifications for it so you'll never get bothered. Send everything to voicemail. That's you got a burner number. You haven't had to pay, 99 pence for a SIM card, shove it in a phone, take it out when you're done, or use a dual SIM card. Those numbers yours for life. No, it's a monthly subscription. So I can buy numbers anywhere in the world through this. Add number. Buy numbers from anywhere in the world. If I go to buy another one, I can choose £4.99 a month, £13.99 for 3 months, 50 quid for the year. So yeah, it can be yours for life if you want. But the app's called On Off. It's quite popular. I think it's French. On Off app. Multiple temporary disposable phone numbers. Think of it like if you've ever used MailDrop for email. Think of it like that, but for phone numbers. All these links, by the way, are available at the link above. I find it absolutely fantastic. It's a great app for me to use when I'm doing research or if I'm trying to call someone and don't want to give away my actual number. Shove it on, install it, download it, download a number, buy a number, phone the person, get a couple of text messages, chuck it when I'm done. Nothing to worry about. And similarly, we have maildrop.cc. Shout out to Greg for this one. I didn't realize this one existed. But you can literally make Lonzo 420. Literally make a brand new. Yeah, you can do a similar thing with Skype. Yeah, Skype, and what was the other one? Oh, there's another one that you can register a number. I think Skype, you can register it and you can have the app on your phone. It's really easy, simple. You can just chuck it in, turn it off when you're done, ditch it. Skype's a little bit more expensive, I think. I think you actually have to buy the number and then chuck some money in it. Can't remember. Yes. Viber, I have no idea whether it applies to Viber as well. Possibly does. Most of these places have some form of way for you to register a UK number or a French number or American number. £5 a month, same price then. Same price as on off. This comes back to my earlier point about tools though. Like, use whatever makes you feel comfortable. I am not a fan of giving myself more money. I would much rather give it to a smaller company like On Off, which is awesome. Who's the dude in the photo behind me? It's me. It's me. It's always been me. But no, yeah, use whatever you feel comfortable with and whatever you like. Fire RTC is absolutely fantastic. Fire RTC is great, but I like the simplistic stuff personally. You know, I've got an app. Yay, I can just press a button and go. Yeah, if you don't have an account. Yeah. So again, use whatever you feel comfortable with. On off is really similar to MailDrop, except MailDrop's free and it's for email addresses. So let's say you're signing up to, we've all been there where you're downloading like a Photoshop file or a Illustrator file or something, and all we need is the email address for you to check out. Use MailDrop. Literally sign up, create a random. You can literally smash the keyboard at maildrop.cc, hit view inbox, and that's the inbox. Whenever someone sends an email to that address, it'll come in here. So let's Alonzo Big Dick 420. Has anyone emailed that? Nope, they haven't. But yeah, you just take that email address, go and use it. 10-minute mail is great as well. The unfortunate thing with 10-minute mail is some of the stuff I'm doing, I really need that email address in an hour or 2 hours later. With this, it's just always there. It's kind of like a Dropbox or a dead drop for email addresses. You just literally punt that in, away you go. Burners are great, but if you're creating a burner Twitter account, you're going to need a few ideas. And if you are creating a burner, if you are doing OSINT in a target, I would thoroughly recommend you create a burner Twitter account with a personality behind it. And what I mean by that is using tools like this person does not exist. Okay, that's a bit of a, ugh. That's worse than me. This guy looks creepy. That looks okay. I quite like that one. Looks a bit weird around the hair, but no one really tends to look there. Obviously, a child isn't going to be on social media, and if they are, then probably you're going to have to generate your personality around that. That one's kind of cool because you've got the other face in. If you ran that through like Prisma or I just saw your comment. If you run it through a filter or something like Prisma or Snapchat filters to kind of smooth out the edges, it's kind of cool that you've got someone else in there. But if someone were to look really closely at the eye up in the top right, you can see that it's trying to figure out whether there should be glasses or no glasses. So I'd probably give that one a pass. This one's good. I like this one. Yeah, this one's pretty cool. I like this. If you ran that through some smooth filter, like a Snapchat filter or a Prisma filter, just to get rid of any artifacts that you haven't spotted, I've noticed actually there are some kind of blue dots around her hair in certain places. Yeah, and you can see over the right hand side the kind of fractal type pattern that's going on with the hair. This is a good one aside from those. And there's a little bit in our, yeah, as you look at it more and more, you start to notice a lot of issues. But when you're putting that stuff into a Twitter account that's a burner, bear in mind that stuff's going to be like that size. So all of a sudden it looks incredibly good. It looks, it looks like a normal human being. It's only when you actually start to zoom in that you notice that around the neckline, there's some kind of overlapping issues. Her teeth are a wee bit funny, especially when it gets to the back. Around her eyes. So yeah, let's just make this resume does not exist. This cat does not exist. I like that one too. But yeah, if you can, absolutely set up a burner profile, shove a picture from this person does not exist on it, put a filter over it to make it look a bit nicer and clean up any artifacts. And don't forget to give your fake person a personality. So if we're using that picture, let's go female, choose your random age, let's go 35, probably 40 is more accurate. State, Illinois, why not? Go for it. Now, obviously, there's UK ones, but here we've got an entire profile for that person. Gender, female. We've got a street name, we've got a city, state, zip. I mean, all this is complete bollocks. But, and we have a name, fake email address, which we can forget about. But height 5'5", weight, hair color, blood type, star sign, mother's maiden name, civil status. You can suddenly start to use this when you're tweeting about stuff. So I have, yes, it absolutely will be available. I'm everyone's wife, fed up with it. But if you're making a burner account, it's good to have them have different personalities. So some of the burner accounts I have are massive Trump supporters. Other burner accounts I have are massive Republican support. Sorry, Democrat supporters. So they're massively into Bernie Sanders. They're okay in Joe Biden. They have their own little in jokes. They have their own little personalities. They have their own quirks when they're typing. Maybe space period space when they're typing a sentence. They have their own little quirks, and it's important to stick to those as much as you can. So keep an archive of this. I've got a Yep, I'm definitely rigging the election with all these fake people. Let's just generate 5,000 votes for Obama. Go. But yeah, I've got a little archive in my one password folder, vault, I guess, for OSINT, and it's like this person. This is where they go to school. This is what they do. This is their date of birth. This is where they come from. This is their height. This is their star sign. This is their likes, their dislikes. This is the kind of thing they interact with, whether they're single. It sounds stupid, but once you read that, if you're going to be putting like tweets out there as a burner account so that it's got some history, especially if it's like 2 or 3 years old, you don't want it to sound like you. So someone looks at the two accounts and suddenly goes, hey, that's the same language pattern, or they always say this thing, or they're constantly tweeting pictures of squirrels. You don't want them to do that. So it's worthwhile remembering that. Twitter with history, there's advantages and disadvantages of having a Twitter account with history on it. And what I mean by that is I've got a few alt accounts on Twitter. I use them occasionally to tweet various things. Sometimes I use them to just purely look at stuff. Sometimes I use them for specific investigations or specific pieces of TV work so that people weren't going to get creeped out. I obviously I mentioned earlier that we did a few OSINT jobs for TV, and we did them against extras basically that wanted to be found online, but we'd all gone in for a big meeting before the show kicked off or before the series kicked off, and we met everybody. And then it was only later that someone turned around and said, hey, we want you to do OSINT on those 3 extras that you met the other day. Now, if I go and follow them on Twitter, it's going to be really, really obvious, especially most of them had private accounts. They didn't want us finding their actual Twitter account. It's going to be obvious they're not going to let me see that stuff because they know what I'm going to be doing later. So I follow them from an alt account, an alt account that's called, what's that? Have I missed the name? Bobby B. Mitchell. Must have refreshed that since the girls' account that we generated. But if I follow them from Bobby B. Mitchell, who's this guy? It's cool. He kind of looks pretty cool. He works in advertising, I think. Yeah, I think I've seen him before. All of a sudden, it makes it a lot more believable. Effectively, you can suddenly turn around and go, "Hey, I think I know that person," rather than a completely blank Twitter account just popping up out of nowhere, suddenly wanting to follow you with no followers and no following. Like, get a Twitter account, make one up just now, shove it in on your Twitter app, tweet from it occasionally, tweet random stuff, tweet things you totally disagree with, just so you have some sort of following. And yes, that is absolutely why Stu has so many followers. It's all just his own sock puppet accounts. But a really, really cool feature, which I found out by accident, is if you have a private Twitter account, so it's locked down, if you follow someone, who am I going to choose? So if I follow someone, thunk, because I'm private, Mike will not get a notification that I followed him because I'm private. So you can suddenly follow me, right? For God's sake. Okay, so you shouldn't have got a notification that you were followed, which is really, really, really useful. So on a couple of my other alt accounts, what I tend to do is I will go private quickly, follow the people, and then make my profile unprivate, and I'll kind of fly under the radar. Sometimes you wait a couple of days, look for the follower count, make sure it's gone up, and then you can unprivate your account so that they don't realize that you followed them. Yeah, so you can sneakily follow people they don't understand, and then you're in there. And most people, especially if they've got 90 or let's just choose the first account that's come up, 202 followers. If that goes up to 203, she's probably not going to notice. This guy 116. Okay, the board store 143. 730. They're never going to notice if a random follower just joins. If it's someone with like 12 followers, oh, cute. Doing cuter as a squirrel though. But if they've got 10 followers and it suddenly jumps up to 11, that person might suddenly realize, hey, wait a minute, that's weird. Just checking the chat. Everybody's asking me to follow them. You do know that I'm going to absolutely clean and burn this account in like 20 minutes. But yeah, if I follow you private, you're never going to notice. It's quite interesting as well. I would regularly recommend that you audit your own followers list. And a really, really interesting feature I've got is all my using if this then that, I output all my followers to a spreadsheet, not to creep on them or anything, and not to kind of go and chase them down in a month when they've unfollowed me again because I've been tweeting too many squirrel pictures. But it's more just to see when I get a secret follow like that. I can see, hey, I got a notification on Twitter and I got a new entry in my spreadsheet. Cool, we're all good. If I get no notification on Twitter, but I've got a new entry in the spreadsheet or on the Discord that I monitor, hey, wait a minute, that's a secret follow, gonna have a look. And yeah, Mike's right, if you do it at 3 a.m., 6 a.m., they're never gonna notice, they're never gonna even realize. Some of these people that we use the term we collectively, some of the people that I've looked at, they're not gonna notice one random follower. They're never going to notice if some random person is just randomly followed them out the blue. And even if they do, if you're using a fake personality with, you can either use that picture or this person does not exist with a nice filter over it, they're never going to think twice. They're going to be like, oh, I don't know that person, but weird. They seem okay. Especially if you align your politics and your tweeting style and what you tweet about with the way they tweet. So it's easier for someone to accept you into their circle if you're a Trump fan, if they're a Trump fan. And similarly, it's easier for someone to accept you into the circle if they're a Marmite fan and you are fully Marmite branded. And yes, Marmite is a banned word in the chat. That's the only banned word. But yeah, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook friends from number. If you shove a number into the iPhone, put it in your contacts directory, open Twitter and the burner account, upload your contact book with like one person in it, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, we found your contacts on Twitter. Or you'll get a notification when they've suddenly joined Twitter. Leave that phone running in the background. Like you're gonna, yeah, if people have found their way around, you're gonna suddenly realize that, hey, wait a minute, my phone book has only got one number in it. That's the only person that's monitoring, and I've just got a notification when that number is signed up to Twitter. Excellent. It's a nice little workaround. But that's it for the intensive tools. There's some manual stuff I kind of want to run through quickly. Does anyone want to shout at me quickly before I move on? Wow, okay. The hot dark spread. Yeah, okay. I'm going to move on. Wow, way to bring down the conversation, man. Okay, so I'm gonna show you something pretty cool. When your friends tweet a link and they say, "Hey, please watch my stream at 8 o'clock tonight." How many of you go into the analytics to see how many people actually clicked on the link versus how many people liked it and retweeted it? Because I'm really, really conscious about that. If I like something or retweet it, I will absolutely click that link and I'll even go and read it because I don't want to like it and all of a sudden you have 200 likes and only 3 people have clicked the link. On my Breaking the Lock on CSCV article, it's the only one that defies the trend where it suddenly is like, I have 800 link clicks and 200 or something like retweets, or 200 likes or something. That's awesome, but it's so, so rare. What are friends? Yeah, when you find out, tell me. Manual search. Yeah. Okay, here's a great fun story. I went to a party about 2 years ago. We're just talking away. It wasn't even me that did it, but we're just chatting away, and someone said, "So what do you do?" And oh, so Martin, do you have a question? Do you want to shout it out, man? Do I do this personally? Do you mean do I do this under the guise of a company, or do I just do all this myself? Oh, right, yeah. So I should point this out. Nothing I'm doing is breaking the law. Everything I do is using OSINT. It's just using what's honestly available publicly. There is a bit of a question mark over. So this was an interesting thing that I ran into with a couple of people a while ago. Was due to the Investigative Powers Act, it's kind of questionable whether a police officer can look at Twitter and then report a crime. I think it's just people are just a bit panicky about how the IPA stuff is interpreted in the UK anyway. But grey area is what you do with the data once it's collected. Yeah, absolutely. It's only illegal if you get caught. Otherwise, it's fine. I obviously wouldn't endorse anything illegal. I wouldn't champion it. Thanks for that, Brian. But no, open source, it's just all impersonation is illegal. No, you can absolutely have as many Twitter alt accounts. I would encourage it. Everybody encourages it. Um, yeah, I would encourage you to have an alt. It's only the time when it becomes slightly questionable is when you're stealing someone's identity. When you're going to steal someone's identity and then run away with that and use that against them. Use a burner for what was the name of it? This person does not exist. Use a burner, throw away, put up a personality, leave it be, or a troll. Yeah, fake people, absolutely the way to go. And if your name is, I mean, do a quick Google for that name. Just make sure they're not prolific. Like if you make a fake profile with a really unique name like mine, it's going to show up. It's going to be clear that it's related. It's not the same thing. Especially if you use my picture and my name. That's a bit of a dick move. Don't do that. But yeah, just fake people all the way. I hope that kind of answers your question. You can make a fake Scott account called Scoot. Yes, absolutely. I approve of this. Just for you, you can go ahead and do it. Would contacting private Facebook accounts be dodgy ground or fine? Ask your lawyer, not a lawyer. I'm just giving you the tools and resources. What you do with them is absolutely up to you. So yeah, most of this stuff, it would be absolutely good to chat about this. This is the kind of thing that's absolutely should be brought up at Happy Hour. If you're not at Happy Hour tomorrow, please hit up Sean Writer at Sick Bloke for the Zoom details. I'm not answering that question, Jen. But yeah, fake people, absolutely the way to go. Back to my story. So a couple of years ago, I was at a party. Someone asked what I did for a living, and the question came up around OSINT. It never usually comes up as, "Hey, you do OSINT, do me." It's just always a, "Oh wait, so you find people and you do? Oh, that's kind of cool. What can you find out about me?" And they don't really expect you to do anything. And because I was at a party and I was drinking, I didn't do it. Someone else did. They'd listened to my ramblings before. They picked up a few tips and they decided, hey, do you know what? I'm going to find out stuff about this person. Within, I think, 6 minutes, they'd found the girl's eBay account. They'd found clothes that she was selling, was able to tell her dress size, where roughly she lived, because obviously eBay tells you, this area of Glasgow to pick up, free pickup. Here's my phone number, call me. So within 6 minutes, they had enough information to scare the person into going, holy crap, you know a lot more about me. But it was just literally they put the person's name into Google with the location in Glasgow that we currently were, and they managed to find this person's eBay account. This particular individual used the same username across multiple services. So, okay, fine, it was a manual search on Google, but it's basically using Sherlock. They just punted that username in. It was quite a unique username. They found a Twitter account. They found a eBay account. Obviously, they found an Amazon account, Amazon reviews, which is something that I absolutely love doing. Is if you have a username for someone, if you go to the Google Images, obviously you're going to get some stuff back. This is all not me. That's amazing. Oh no, this is all me. Great. So you're going to get some stuff back that is that person. But if we have a look on Amazon, if we actually put Amazon in as well, okay, we're getting a few tweets about things referencing Amazon. But what tends to come up is products that I've actually reviewed, which is quite interesting. That wasn't me, obviously, but that's the kind of review I would leave. I bought this one incredibly drunk. if we scroll down, here's a book that I reviewed. Here's a pickup that I ordered for my upright double bass and reviewed it and said it was pretty good. LED license plate lights because mine fell out completely. Podcast I've been on, so we'll ignore that for now. That's just the back cover of the same book. I bought a new, actually this one right here, bought a new top for my vape a while ago, reviewed it because I thought it was pretty good. This was the worst waste of money ever, the TTRS conversion jack. Total piece of crap. More LED lights, belts. It's an article that was quoted in. That was a fight I picked with someone and didn't realise that the book was a bit of a shitpost. Regret that one now. That's my most popular tweet ever. My car mount, etc., etc. Long story short, you can find out a lot of information about someone just based on Amazon reviews alone. So what kind of products they buy. They're buying stickers for a MacBook. That's interesting. I wonder if they're a Mac user. They're buying stop staring at screens. So they either know the person or they're spending a lot of time staring at their phone. They're buying an upright double bass pickup and LED lights for their car. So that must mean their car is of a certain age where it didn't come with LED lights. You suddenly can build up a lot of information about these people. Just checking the chat every 2 seconds. Yeah, I'm not going to mention that. Yeah, absolutely. If you can leave reviews as an anonymous person, great, do it. Or if you don't need to leave a review, then that's great. But the vast majority of people will leave a review if prompted. One of my favorite things to do is to go on Amazon. I know this is slightly unrelated to OSINT, but it is quite somehow related, is to look at the questions. If you look at any product, you'll find a section where it says, let's pick this, choosing a focused life. You'll find questions where people have asked certain things. They're like, hey, does this fit this car? Is it going to work for me? People want to be helpful, and Amazon send out emails to anybody that's bought it and said, hey, there's this question here, can you answer it? You're going to respond with your Amazon username. So, especially if you're using your own name, like Ian Howlett, myself, it's dead easy to find out speaking style, the way that they write, whether or not they use the Oxford comma, whether or not they're actually consistent in the way they write. I mean, here's two different basically identical reviews. They love it, but here's one that rambles on. It's a wall of text. Yeah, it's new paragraphs every couple of minutes, but this one is very clear. It's concise. It's paragraph, space, paragraph, space, paragraph. This might actually be the person that tweeted the Cabinet Office shit. Like, it's possible, right? Based on the way the writing is. So you can immediately go, okay, I know more about this person, what they like to do. But yeah, that girl that it wasn't even me that said it, but the girl that heard about her dress size absolutely and utterly was taken aback because it took 6 minutes for them to go, okay, here's all this information I found out about you. And at which point they suddenly went, how did you find that? And how can I stop this from happening again? In a similar way, in a similar vein, I guess, if you find a private Twitter account, Jen, are you still here? Jen is gone. Okay, so if we go on my Twitter account, my actual Twitter account, I'm going to make my personal Twitter account private. Settings of privacy and safety, protect your tweets. Okay. Unfollow. Now, I can't see any of these tweets. It's cool, Jen. I was going to get you to make your account private for a second and unfollow you, but I'm going to do it for myself. So right now, for the first time ever, my Twitter account is private. My mother's going to probably think I've been arrested or something. But anyway, to a lot of people, it feels like a dead end when you run up against a blocked Twitter account or a private Twitter account, or someone that's blocked you for whatever reason. That doesn't mean to say it's the end of the line. You can absolutely still search for tweets sent to that person and try and get a gauge of what's going on. So Dan Con 51 minutes ago, I'm there. Mike Thompson. So this is all obviously related to my stream. However, if we go back, 13 out of 10 on the mustache game, Scott. That was 3 hours ago. Interesting. So if we go in, so this is clearly a conversation ongoing about the. There's the soundboard when you need it. I'm intentionally trying so hard not to use the soundboard tonight. It's really bad. But yeah, you can see a conversation thread there about mustache. So clearly we were talking about my bad pirate mustache and the fact that I had a D'Artagnan for a while. We go back even further. Dan wanted to watch the Squiggles. That's it. There. There you go. And why not? Let's talk about this one because this one's funny. I'm going to make myself unprivate. So yeah, even though the private accounts are supposedly a dead end, you can still see conversation streams back and forward between other people. You can use them as anchor people to go, okay, you clearly interact with this person a lot. I'm going to watch for every time you interact with them. They're going to be speaking about specific subjects. They're going to be speaking about specific specific themes. They're going to be following political trends. There's one person in particular that blocked me a couple of days ago. Not a uncommon affair, I have to admit. But someone blocked me the other day, and I was like, "Hey, I wonder what they're actually talking about today." And I could only see the responses to that person were always like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just take it easy, and don't worry about it, and take some time to yourself." And you can estimate what the person's tweeting about, that they're wanting to take some time off, or they don't want to be on Twitter anymore, for whatever reason, and that's absolutely fine. But yeah, this tweet, this absolutely terrified me. And it comes back to a point I made earlier, where it doesn't matter what you know, it's who you know. So I put this out, obviously, and I got a response within minutes saying, you couldn't have picked a photo that's not 10 years old. And I absolutely and utterly crapped myself. I was sitting there drinking coffee, and half of it ended up in the monitors. I was like, how on earth did you know? I know I look slightly different. I've got longer hair slightly, but it's quarantine. Everybody's kind of got this kind of Jack Sparrow look going on. And 2 minutes later, it was bonus points of being track the location or crack the location. And sure enough, I had to look up where the location was. I wasn't even sure. And I dropped pen and I Google Street View, and it scared the crap out of me. And that was within 6 minutes. And then it turns out later. So a couple of other people were like, "Hey, I'll buy you a beer if this is if you tell me how it was done." It transpired that he just asked someone who knew exactly where the photograph was taken because she was the one that took it. And what was quite interesting though was someone responded saying that's cheating, and I'm like, it's not cheating. It's kind of, it ties back to like I get it, but it ties back to it's who you know, but not what you know. You can work smarter or harder. If you know that there's an easy way to find something, do it, and yeah, you get away with it. Spoken about that. I'm probably going to absolutely dox myself when I try this one, but let's go for it anyway. Let's go back to the iPhone. Okay, so let's do that. Hey. So there's a little cool trick on iPhone, which again I do as soon as I see a mobile number. You can tell immediately whether from a number what mobile network it's registered with, whether it's on WhatsApp or not, because you just shove it in your contacts directory and open WhatsApp. And then the third thing you can do is if you have an iPhone, you can literally just straight away shove in the number. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that wasn't going to dox my number there. So I've typed in a number that I know for a fact is iPhone. It has iMessage, and you can see there it's gone blue. That's great because I know it's got iMessage. You can actually see in the box it's changed to iMessage. If we type in a random number, now I looked at random window cleaners earlier. So this is a random window cleaners in London. I have no association with them at all. They literally came up on one single Facebook search for London window cleaners. So apologies to the company. I'm not using you for any reason. I don't think you're scamming. I don't know if you're scamming. I don't have any association. Just want to make that clear. So if we type in their number, +44 7983 444 210. It's come up green. So that means it's not an iPhone, it's not registered by iMessage, it's potentially a third party, app service, or it's an Android. But coming back to people stuff, if we run their number through people, we can see here we've got the phone number comes back. This is what I would call a genuine hit. This number's been used a while. It's clearly been used a lot. It's on their Facebook business page. Makes perfect sense for it to be there. So I'm expecting it to come back with a lot of hits. So there's 3 jobs, 2 addresses, 2 other phones, 2 mobile phones it's registered to, a couple of emails, some names. Cool. I'm not going to dox this guy live on stream, but no, it's not a jailbroken iPhone. It's literally my old iPhone 8 that I've just plugged into the Mac, and you can use it as a remote source. It's really, like I said, simple, basic. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that you get back. Is you get name, addresses. I think if we go all the way down to the bottom, we might even find London window cleaners. Here's a link to my other business pages. You can find LinkedIn pages. Again, there is more information all over there, but I've just been told to check my notifications. Why? I'll ignore that for now. But yeah, you can absolutely bang in any mobile number, especially if it's been used like this. Well, we're at it actually. Let's. Apologies to this guy because I'm kind of using you as a guinea pig here. That window cleaner's email address has been listed in an online or spam bot, which is absolutely what I would expect. Now, if we'd put in his email address or the window cleaners, info@windowcleaners.com, and it came back to Ashley Madison, it would be quite interesting and quite funny, but I'd know that they'd been using that for a while and it's probably their own business and they're using their own email address to. He's out cleaning windows, don't worry. Yeah, he's not got time to sign up to Ashley Madison, that's his problem. But Yeah, this kind of comes back to this idea of you can use that to date an email address and see whether it's been used. There's a lot of fake business accounts that pop up, especially if it's got quite a low number of followers, and they're trying to get money out of you. Absolutely worth banging that into Have I Been Pwned and seeing whether it's comes back with anything. Same with the phone number. Shove it into people, shove it into your contact directory on your phone and upload that to Twitter on a burner. See if it pops back and says, "Hey, your contact is now on Twitter," and you can see their Twitter account and see whether it's some random throwaway one or whether it's actually them. Quite easy to do. Yes, everyone is a source of intelligence. Absolutely. I like that. Aside from me, of course, I'm not a source of intelligence. You might be here a while if you're looking for intelligence. Another cool thing I like using a lot. Where is it? Dehashed. Absolutely love this tool. Throw at any email address. I'm not going to dox that poor window cleaner anymore, but throw at any email address. So if we're to look at, I don't know, data available but hidden. Okay, that's interesting. You can find passwords, you can find names, addresses, public data, whatever it is. The pricing as well is ridiculously cheap. Oh no, sorry, this is the one that's expensive. It's $4.99 for a week, $14.29 for a month, and £149 for a year. If you do OSINT as kind of an enthusiast thing, $4.49, it's going to be quite tough to. You need a premium. Yeah, I'm not logged in because I do have an account, but I don't pay for a yearly license. I don't pay for a monthly license. I literally use it as a last resort because normally things like, if anyone's ever heard of Ghost Project, things like Ghost Project, or even if you've got dumps of Pastebin going back years, they absolutely and utterly, I don't know how to spell Marriott, but we'll go with that. If it results in anything, I'd be interested to see. Nope, doesn't look as if it's working. But yeah, I use other third-party tools before I use Dehashed, purely because if I know the client has been breached in something, I'm not actually really interested in what the password is. It's nice to have a password to, um, nice to have a password on double down the R, right? Okay. It doesn't actually matter because I'm not interested in what Marriott's actual password is, and I don't really want to broadcast that because they probably haven't changed it, but in various places. But again, it's one of the things I will eventually use Dhash. I'll eventually pay for it right at the end of a project when I'm like, okay, I need to know this person's password. I need to know all these people's passwords to give that to the client and say, you need to change this, or hey, 3 of your staff members or 3 people in this organization are using the exact same password and it's a crap password because it's on Dehashed and it's tiny, it's like dog1, you know, like that's clearly them sharing passwords or discussing passwords together. Pretty crap. Yeah, absolutely. Rags just brought up a great point. Dhash will let you remove the data and people will too. So if you find yourself on people, there's a phone number down the bottom somewhere. Contact them. Literally contact them. They are the best people to speak to. They will remove your data in seconds. Genuinely. We had a I'm not going to read out what Marriott's password actually is, but that is definitely close. I think there's a 4 at the end, maybe some Marmite as well. But yeah, reach out to people, reach out to Dehashed if your stuff's on there, get them to remove it. Nothing will trip me up more than just being unable to find anything on you. It's quite gutting as when you're doing OSINT when you don't find something, but it absolutely trips me up. And yeah. Yeah, so the Ghost Project is a weird one. It's got some breach stuff in it, but sometimes it's starred out if you subscribe or pay the money. I'm not terribly sure about the legitimacy of the Ghost Project stuff, but I don't ask too many questions. They will give you access to their full unredacted version of the database. It's definitely got less information in it than Dehashed, but one of the cool things is if you throw out an email address, it will tell you a rough password if it's in there, from years gone by. Let's have a look and see whether it actually works this time. Ready to try. That looks a bit better. Let's actually try info at Marriott. Did I spell it right this time? Yes. Okay, that's interesting. Didn't expect that. Gonna try this. Hang on. Let me log in. Okay, let's try this. Really? 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 That's just disappointing. It really is. That's really disappointing. I'm genuinely speechless right now. I don't even know what to say. Yeah, it's almost as good as Dog One. It's pretty much the first one I'm going to try. Yeah, it's a big F. Wow. At least this one's kind of like they've kind of thought about it. Oh, I guess. Hang on. 16ZAP2SE. Yeah, it just needs a exclamation point. I mean, I'm absolutely blown away by that. I did not expect that to work. Oh, Marriott, Jesus. Well, there you go. That's. If, I guarantee you, somewhere in their organization are still using that as a password. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But you could just sit here all night and just sit here all night and just look up. Chibbles. Facebook 1234. Okay. Anyway, Chibbles. Yes. Hang on. There we go. Yeah, I think that is his nickname. Chibbles laptop sticker. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm going to sort out. I'm going to get Chibbles laptop stickers for everyone. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. Do that one. It's not my email address, so we're all good. Let's see if this actually comes back. See, doesn't work. I'm really gutted at Facebook. I would have thought better. Yeah, let's get some Chibble stickers. Fuck it. Nah. Anyway, yeah. So using searches like this, there's only what is it, 1.4 million results in it. Obviously, Facebook is one of them. Um, Interesting. That's cool. I didn't realize it did subdomain searches. So that's kind of cool. Jewels. Oh, what's a big organization we can absolutely just tear down right now? Oh, Gary Barlow is in there. Okay. Fucking hell. Now, there is only one thing that's kind of coming to mind here is someone could have signed up for a service, used info at AT&T.com as a kind of okay, that's won it for tonight. Use that as a kind of shitpost to fill up their database full of crap. I can confirm though, this is legit because see if these are all old email addresses for me, by the way. Companies I've long since left. It's the first time anyone's ever told me I was going too quick. Screw it. I'll actually put in my real email address. Yes, that was my password for a very long time, ages ago. Can absolutely confirm this does have some good results in it. Telefonica. Are they French? I think they're French. Germany? Okay, that's good. Well, that was a fun little distraction there. Let's just shitpost about all these Spanish. Let's try that. Nope, no results found. I wonder. I am not doing some company I work for. Oh god, I'm not doxing Tim Martin. No way. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Ghost Project is a good tool. I do have access to their full VIP thing. If you're doing it for legit reasons, I don't mind sharing that because obviously it was like $20 or something. Yeah, that's I'm absolutely not doing anything to do with him. I don't want to be involved in any big massive screw you he's going to put back to me. No, just leaving that one as it is. Will we do an all nighter? No, absolutely not. I'm going to bed after this. I'm having another beer and just chilling. But yeah, Ghost Project pretty cool. This is why I don't pay for dehashed. If I can get the same level of information here, or at least even a partially redacted profile, great. I'll bang it in the document. Say that's kind of a redaction of the password. I've never had a client come back to me and say, no, we're not going to pay you unless you give us the the full password. It's never ever happened. Someone said, what about our friend Alonso? What is Alonso's email address? Is it Big Dick Alonso 420 or Alonso Big Dick 420? Can't remember. We'll try both. So this is the same as Troy's site, Have I Been Pwned, where it doesn't recognize that Gmail and Google Mail are the same thing, and it doesn't really understand that you can put a period in, and it just gets a bit funky. No. I think Big Dick Alonso's the type of guy that would register a Hotmail, to be honest. No. Unfortunately, Big Dick Alonso 420 does not have an account at all, which is a shame, really. Be nice. Nice if he did. Nope. Nothing for. I am not. Hey, this is the last one I'm going to do. Screw it. You know it's bad when Tim Martin has a better password than Facebook. Like, you know it's bad. I'm actually decidedly shocked that Tim Martin's actually got a decent, fairly well thought out password. Now, bear in mind, we don't know the age of this password. We don't know when it was dumped. We don't know whether it's still active. I doubt it actually is. Chibbles, Chibbles has got me, man. I don't know what to say to that. Absolutely brilliant, Chibbles. Just a bit crazy. Yeah, maybe so. I tell you what isn't a password generated one, a password manager generated one, Chibbles or Football One. Like, I guarantee you that Chibbles has not come out of password manager. Yeah, just no, you're welcome. See you later, man. Thanks for joining. Eloco Alonso. I'm not Urban Dictionary something on stream, just in case it comes back with something horrendous. Recommended password manager, sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. No, use whatever you feel comfortable with. I like 1Password, but find whatever works for you. I think Sean did a stream a while ago, where he said about he lost his entire. I am so gonna get a cease and desist for this. Interesting. Where he lost his master password, and the only way to recover was to completely start from scratch. There's loads of people out there trying to break password managers on a daily basis. Right, apparently it's safe for stream. I'm going to go for it. But the whole point of password managers are to take the complexity away. I would much rather use a password manager that is average than try and come up with passwords myself. I think the risk of not having a password manager is greater than you know, I know I get people shout at me all the time for using WhatsApp. People shout at me all the time for having Twitter and dumping everything online. It's just like, well, my risk is it's a private company and they make money off me from ads. Like, I don't like Facebook, not at all, and I don't trust their end-to-end encryption on WhatsApp. But no password key, no access. Yeah. Let's see what this Chibble's all about. To needlessly pester someone without emotion, reason, or need, but strictly for one's own amusement. To purposely intend to irritate someone, typically without previous instigation, for no foreseeable benefit to either party. The term, while delivered from an Indian college student, will derive from an Indian college student, it is by definition in no way related to Yal Chipper or Jal Chipper. I can think of a number of people that are on that are friends with me that are chibblers. Still, 100% build and understand your personal threat model. Yeah, 100%. This is it. Like it's, I, I had a conversation with someone the other day where I said, look, I'm not putting whitehouse.gov into that. I had a conversation with someone the other day where I was like, look, what is the um what is the threat? If I were to tell you I know where you live, I know what you've got in your front garden, I know you've got a barbecue at the back, like you know me, so you're like, well, you know all that already, Scott. Why is that a big deal? Well, I found all that out purely from dropping a pin on Google Maps with a street view and looking at your house and seeing through the fence. I can see the barbecue through the fence. Oh, that's creepy. Well, is it? Like, understand your threat model, understand what shit's out there about you, understand what apps you're using, where you're dumping stuff. Get a password manager and literally dump your entire like your password history from Chrome into CSV file, import it into your password manager, and sit there and realize how much crappy accounts you've had over the years at various services. Even using a tool like Sherlock to go, okay, where's my yeah, you're definitely getting chibbed, Yabas. You're getting chibbled, Yabas. Use my using the Sherlock tool. If we go up, Python 3 Sherlock. So let's say Alonso Big Dick 420. He thinks he's only got 3 accounts, one at Reddit, Twitter, and God knows where else. And it transpires that actually he's got an account on Tinder, he's got an account on Wikipedia that you've forgotten about. Use it, log in there, dump it. Really tempted to open that now. Really tempted. It'll be a porn account, won't it? And empty your Google passwords. Yeah. I use absolutely. It's clean, it's Twitter. Nope. Have you seen my Twitter account? But yeah, again, just this is probably I'm probably going to wrap it up here, but this is absolutely relevant to tonight's stream. It's important when you're doing OSINT stuff to keep on track and not get distracted. It's really easy for you to look at a target and go, hey, yeah, I know I'm looking at this guy, but his wife is breaking the law. Let's go and research her and all her friends and all their friends. And, all of a sudden you've got links to, criminal gangs in Russia. And your Maltego file is going to look like a Jackson Pollock painting. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be really sprawling. Try and keep yourself focused. Yes, there are a few questions. Yeah, I'll get back to that, Mike. But there are a few moments where you have to go further into stuff. That's absolutely fine. But knowing when to stop and pull back, that's absolutely it. Mike's question, I'm just going to mention it because it is a good one. Is there really such a thing as deleting an account? Not to the company, but to a researcher or someone trying to find out more about you? Yeah, I guess. Um, I am going to change the screen to the Q&A screen. That's easier. Star Trek 9, trouble with... Yeah, okay. Record everything if possible. If you're doing an OSINT investigation, absolutely record everything you touch, everything you do. If you're recording your screen, you're not going to have to go, how do I make that tentative link? Even wear a headset and just sit there and go, okay, this is what I'm doing. Talk to yourself. Take notes. Absolutely take notes. Draw stuff out, Maltego. Use a tool like Discord. I absolutely love using Discord just to type stuff in like notes because it's got a date stamp. If you're working with someone else, they're going to have their own avatar and username. dump your history from web browsers. You can find automated tools, great. If you can't, use a brand new profile for a Chrome account or whatever browser you use, and learn how to dump your browser history from that date point to a date point. Be careful with things like Chrome. Sometimes it deletes certain web history. Is a community edition of Maltego efficient enough? Sometimes I get 0 results. I'm assuming you're meaning the transforms. That's in my estimation, because I don't tend to use the transforms. That'll be the transforms issue, not the Maltego version. The community edition is what I use on a almost daily basis. I love it. I have no issues with it. I've yet to run into a brick wall with it. I would absolutely pay for it if I could, though. If it was cheap enough, I would absolutely pay for it. And if I had an active need to monitor more than 100,000 or 1,000,000 different entities, yeah, I'd pay for it. Recommended transforms. I can actually have a look at what I've basically installed for tonight. So this isn't my daily driver Maltego. I've got a Kali install with all the transforms that I normally use in it. I've shoved Have I Been Pwned on it. I've got a TinEye as well, so for reverse image searching. Wayback Machine, yes, no, it's kind of interested to play around with that. So it's nice to shove some things into it and just go, hey, what did this website look like 10 years ago? That's kind of fun, but not really a fan. Social links, I've had hit and a miss with it. It's nice to pull everything all into the one place, but Company's House, yeah. So I've used this one for Company's House. So if we install that and do a quick search for while it's installing. Finish. So if we go, and this is going to be fun. Organization. Twitter. Oops. Okay. No transforms. That's interesting. Okay, that's definitely weird. Didn't expect that. Free transforms, no registration, etc. Company's House. I have used the Company's House one a bunch of times. I've put it under a company entity and then ran the transform about Company's House over it. But apparently there's no transforms available. Weird. The transforms definitely work for people though. So if we put myself in, make sure everything ties up. We go to Company's House, search officers exact. I've obviously got quite a unique name, so it should come back with companies I've either been associated with previously or am associated with now. Yep, it's come back with 2 results, which is what I would expect. Yep, it's got addresses, officer ID, it's got my rough age in it, 1922. Nice. I'm ancient, guys. I'm ancient. But yeah, it's got an old address. It's got a link to Company's House of Officers. That's pretty much it. I Rag and I had a chat about this ages ago. Yeah, there are too many false positives. I like it when I can, like if I were to see that, I like, in fact, let's just group all this together. Select primary entity, that. Okay, everything's in the one entity and I get a nice pretty icon. That is the only time I'll use a transform, is to get a nice pretty icon because I'm lazy. Yeah, there's far too many false positives. If you, I mean, John Doe, I mean, so just run it. Yeah, you're going to be spending ages trying to figure out which one's right and which one's wrong there, aren't you? Like you're going to have to open that up and look at that and, no, is that the guy? No, it's not. Okay, delete that entity. Right, next. And if you imagine you've done that on something like this, where you right click and run a transform across 10 entities or 10 different people, all of a sudden you've got Jackson Pollock painting. Maltego is great for mapping out investigation to understand it better and find different angles, but not for automating and investigating. Yeah, no, you're right. Beats a murder wall as well. Yeah, absolutely right. So I sometimes use the company's house one purely because I'm lazy, but it's because I understand what the output from company's house is. So if we look at John Ernest, let's look at appointments, see what companies he's got or is associated with them. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companies. If I know for a fact and I know what the company is and know what the person is and know what the title is and know that I can go, okay, I know that one is definitely not him, so I'm going to delete it. These two I haven't, oops, these two I haven't investigated yet, so I'm going to put them over there. But these two are definitely related to that person. And I know I'm interested in that particular company. And I've probably already got company's house running in the background. So I'll go, okay, give me the officers for those two. It'll do its thing. Wow, that's a lot of people. I'm like, okay, yeah, that matches with what I've seen, and it's got the little, it's done all the automated work for me. Multigo in one screen, Hacker Typer in the other. Funny story about Hacker Typer. Every single time I'm asked on TV, can you do this thing? And I'm like, yeah, sure, it's going to look like this. And it's like, I don't know, it's like my basic iPhone, and it's like, yeah, you just go to Twitter and you just type this in. And they're like, that's not sexy enough. And I'm like, okay, how about this then? Hackertyper.org? Hackertyper.com. I'm like, okay then, fine. And like, oh my god, that's brilliant. Can you just use that? Like, dude, it's just a shit post. Don't click the organize buttons because it'll ruin your pretty graphic. Disagree. Sometimes it actually helps. Let's see what it's going to do here. It's not done very much. Really depends on whether or not you started laying it out the way you want it to be and you know a lot about your target. I don't care. I'll literally reorganize it a bunch personally. Sorry, that was just a question from Rag, was don't press the button for reorganization. Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to press the button and end up with this and you're like, oh, I don't like it. Or if you do it with over 500 entities, it's going to probably just laugh at you. But sometimes it outputs some logical patterns, and you can move things as an entire unit. So you can kind of get away with, okay, let's try and line that shit up. Okay, that goes to this person. You know, you can kind of get away with that. Yeah, someone did do an interview. I think it was a guy in Sweden, was it not? I like a good murder wall. Let's not go there. I don't look a day over 80. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Dan. Really appreciate that. Cool. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Instantiator. But yeah, if I can give one piece of advice, it's don't feel as if you're a noob to OSINT. I'm definitely not an expert in any manner of means. I've just got lucky in a lot of things, and a lot of it's been right place, right time. I've worked in a certain area, so I know someone. That's it. And don't use Chibbles as your password. If I find anybody in this chat right now or happy or using Chibbles as their password, I am going to personally eviscerate every single one of you. You should not be using that crap. But before I go, .io, OSINT stream. Yeah, everyone has something new to bring to OSINT. I was totally and utterly petrified about saying, hey, I sometimes do OSINT in the company of people like Viking, Rag, Alan, Stu, the Many Hats Club. I was petrified about going, hey, sometimes I do OSINT because what they do is so cool. They wipe the floor at Trace Labs every single year. And I sent them a piece of work I did, and I was like, hey, here's this cool thing I did. Please don't laugh at me too much. I was really drunk when I sent it, and they were like, that's awesome. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, that's cool. These people I look up to in OSINT are liking my work, and I thought it was just, it's a throwaway piece of work. That's really, really cool. But yeah, if anybody has any more questions, I'm going to be sticking around for a wee while. Hey, you're welcome. Thanks. Yeah, absolutely not. I'm not. I'm not broadcasting that one on stream or on Zoom. That's not happening. But if you want to see any of the resources I used or any of the tools, you want to download them or run them or put them through GitHub, I guess, there is a link above me, smcg.io/osint-stream. It'll go to this gist. You're welcome just to type out the entire link of the gist if you don't trust the short URL. But it's got all the tools, it's got some credits and kudos to people who gave me some tips or said, hey, why don't you throw it together into a stream? So major thanks to those people. No major thanks to Mr. Stevenson for his shit post earlier and scaring the crap out of me. Yeah, I tell people not to use link shorteners, and I use my own one. Like, yeah. Further reading, absolutely go and check out Bellingcat. Yep, Stu has an excellent spreadsheet. I think I've bookmarked that, so I'll add that in here. Many Hats Club Discord, please go sign up, join, chat to everyone there. My name on there is Sexy Wooden Spoon. Don't ask. Traceless CTF, they run a CTF every so often, finding people. Bellingcat, excellent investigations. They're child sexual exploitation stuff where they found the locations of all these blacked out images. Absolutely and utterly blew me away. It was a great piece of work. They always seem to do some great stuff. Don't fuck with cats. Absolutely would recommend watching it. And yeah, if anybody has any, oh, thank you. I'm assuming that's Stu's spreadsheet or document. Ah, that's Bellingcat's online investigation toolkit. Yep, I'll add that and I'll add the Stu one as well. And yeah, absolutely. If you're about tomorrow, DM Sean Wrightsec or AppSec Bloke. Hang on. I can do this. I have the technology. If you reach out to either Mr. AppSec Bloke or Mr. Sean Wrightsec, you can join our Happier tomorrow night. It starts 8 p.m. BST, and it's basically drinking and no formal presentations, no streams, nothing's recorded. We have a speaker tomorrow night. Yep, absolutely do Vikings course as well when it comes out eventually. I was going to link to his course, but I almost I didn't want to send him another message going, hey, when's your course going to be out? Yeah, well, you can have a shout out if you want. Um, of course, I don't follow anybody. It's a burner account, Rag. It's literally it's literally only 3 people or something I follow. Canary 2020. So expected September. Yeah. Stu's dashboard. Yeah, I'll add all that stuff on Bushido token if you want to shout out Bushido token. Why not? Actually, no. Screw it. The work you did last night was amazing. Tracking the Bitcoin barons. Can we say that? Is that copyrighted to YT Cracker? Yeah, let's call them Bitcoin barons. The Bitcoin barons from last night. The amount of crap that everybody was doing was fantastic. Stu's dashboard. Follow me. Yeah, follow Rag. Actually, yeah, Rag's got a link in the credit and kudos. I'll update this with everybody that moaned that they weren't in it later at some point. Yeah. You got an anti shout out. Yeah, you got a screw you for doing that. You should have thought that one through, Greg. Beer farmers are now rich after last night. Yep, my suspicion was pretty high. It was beer farmers. But yeah, if anybody has any more questions or wants to shitpost or wants to put Tim Martin's email address into Ghost Project again for fun, then yeah, ask them. Other than that, I'll be drinking a beer and chilling out. I don't know. And it's not just belly button fluff. Have you noticed that? Why isn't there a mute button in microwaves? Would you rather have feet for hands or hands for feet? The mute button in the microwave is a good concept. I don't think it would fly. My name is Duncan Bannatyne, and I will not invest. Would you rather have feet for hands or hands for feet? Hands for feet, and that way I can play. I can buy 2 new keyboards that don't have keycaps on them and type even quicker. I really like you, Scott. Thank you. I think you're the only person that's ever said that to me, including my family. Nice stream, learned a few new tricks. Well, thanks. That's what it's all about. Even if you learn one thing, that's it. Stream was quality. Cheers. I put it on high quality. Nifush. Oh, the second one. Any updates on? Check my Twitter feed for that one. Handcuffs. Hands on your cuffs or cuffs on your hands? Hands on my cuffs. Absolutely. No way. Cuffs on my hands. Been there. Not fun. That must have been the bingo cards. Would you rather never have to sleep but lose 25%? No, just. I kind of like sleeping, to be honest. I'm lazy. I kind of like sleeping. I have wacky dreams. Oh wow! Actually, someone asking a real OSINT question. What's your favorite OSINT browser plugins? None. I don't really have any. I don't. Right, good. I'm not gonna answer that one. Don't really have anything OSINT in my actual browser. I'm just having a look at it just now in a different screen. I've got a cookie modifier. That's it. There's been a few plugins I've added over the years and removed. You know, just I tend to just I like what I've got. I like if I have to manually search something. Okay, I like I don't have a million different plugins trying to look up. We'll look up Company's House for you automatically. I'm quicker to Alt Tab and jump to Company's House. Just when you think it get cold. I've been leaning over and the radiator's on. Like I've been worried about that. Would you rather not answering that? Favorite Scouser? Um, um, nah, I love you really. What's your favorite dessert? I don't really eat dessert. OSIRT, great OSINT browser. Never heard of that. I will absolutely check that out. Honestly, it's great. The person that wrote it is a cool guy as well. Cool. There's your answer. Maybe grab that browser. Grab that browser, play around with it. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, fine. If you like Edge, fine. Cheers, Fig Jam. Pizza Crunch or Mars Bar Fritter. Mars Bar Fritter is not really sold to Scottish people. They're just purely for the tourists. Pizza Crunch, definitely, because it's an Ayrshire thing. What's the weirdest smell you've ever smelled? I used to work for a chemical company many years ago, and they used to get this chemical in that smelled like pear drops. It's called MIBK. That was the internal name for it, and it's a famous UK drugs company or pharmaceutical company, and it smelled like pear drops when you first took it out, but 5 days later it smelled like cat piss, and it would go in your pores. So when you were out, if you were running, for example, it would just come out and absolutely stink the place up. That stuff was the stinkiest stuff I've ever smelled. I actually had an answer for that one, which is quite remarkable. Favorite yeast-based product? Definitely not Marmite. Probably beer. What would you eat with Marmite on it? Not answering that. Is your password? Yes, that is my password many years ago. With and without capital for various services, but now obviously I've got a password manager and totally redid all that. So been using Invid for stitching together images from videos and search by image plugins. Yeah, so Maltego has that is one transform that I may occasionally use is the reverse image search transform, and I just closed the oops transform hub. So it is TinEye is one of the plugins you can use or transforms. Yeah, I'll use that one occasionally. I like the idea of a um, uh, the right click on Google Chrome just to go straight to reverse image search. I love the idea of that, but we've kind of got it here. If I right click Will's image, I can search Google for that image just as a right click. Okay, it's pretty crap, the results, but don't know where it got that from. Wee man. Wee man. Nice. Rags ever mute. They did prepare for you at school. If you were arrested, if I was arrested with no explanation, what would your friends and family assume you had done? Everything. They would check my Twitter feed and just blame every single tweet on the reason why I was arrested immediately. And they have done, by the way. How is Smudge? She's fine. She's doing okay. This is Smudge, by the way, for anybody that's not aware. I have a squirrel pet, basically, that I feed on a regular basis, and she's really friendly, and she'll climb 2 flights to come and sit and have lunch with me. She's awesome. Whoops. Favorite type of pasta? Tagliatelle. What's your mother's maiden name? Not telling you. Ayrshire, have you ever looked into the young teams in your area? Yes, and they all used to have websites when they were younger. I might do another one of these for that. Hopefully shorter. Thanks for the stream. Thank you. If you're wrongfully put into the insane asylum, how would you convince them that you're actually sane and not just pretending to be sane? Have you met me? What's your first pet's name? No comment. I'm off. What's the name of your first pet? Favourite Scottish saying that others wouldn't understand? Oh, that's a good one. I'll answer the real question first, and then I'll answer the shitposty question. What are your thoughts on using sock accounts with a VPN? Any risks that sock account? It really is your threat model. Like, who are you worried about finding out that you're using a sock? If you're worried about Twitter finding out, yeah, fair enough. It all coming from the same location is a bit suspicious. But if you're worried about the individual, like let's say I'm just looking on uh, my the Twitter feed from earlier. I'm looking at Will's profile just now. Let's see if it's Will. There's no way that Will's going to know that I'm on a VPN when I post stuff to him, unless I attach a location, which is easily spoofed. So, yeah, VPN that you would trust. Do you do the research for your own ones? I like ones that I pay a fair amount for, that I'm not a shill for on YouTube. Um, yeah, I tend to not pick ones that are being shills and have military grade encryption and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. So any OSINT job you're proud of? Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah. Uh, hmm. Yeah, there's a couple that I'm proud of. There's been a few that has resulted in criminal convictions. There's been a few that have resulted in doing the right thing for the right person, which is sometimes more important than money or criminal convictions. Um, yeah, I'll leave that one where it is. What do you think of the questions, Scott? I love them. Ask me questions. The trick isn't getting me to talk. The trick is getting me to shut up, Martin. Uh, I only trust military grade encryption VPN with servers located in the USA. Spot on. Yes, I'm sponsored by the raid Shadow Legends. It's fine. The dog was deaf. Is there a single VPN you can trust? No comment. Cool. Favorite cocktail? Is whiskey sour considered a cocktail? Because you make it in a shaker. If it is, I'll go with one of those. But yeah, that's me. Um, has there been any jobs where you've just had to go, I've got nothing? Yes, absolutely. A couple of weeks ago. Well, I say a couple of weeks ago, it's probably 2 or 3 months ago now. Um, Client came to me and said, I know this is the case. I know this is this person that's harassing me. Prove it. And I was like, okay. Went into it with the mindset of, this should be easy. The client's really G'd up and knows that this is a person. That wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. There was a million reasons why it could have been, but it absolutely wasn't. Nothing tied up. So yeah, uh, that was quite gutting, but I still get paid and I still delivered the work. I took one of my rules, which was know when to give up, know when to walk away. Um, Whiskey sour is a cocktail. Good. I'll choose that one then. Whiskey sours are ace. Yes, they are. Favorite whiskey, Monkey Shoulder. I quite like. Anything malty, it's just going to be a waste because it will just burn the shit out of my lungs. Um, it could be the same, but which project would you like to repeat once more because of the results, the high volume, name a thing? The one that I spoke about earlier, where I don't really want to talk about too much, but resulted in criminal convictions. I was really satisfying seeing that through. Really satisfying being the smartest people in the room, and I don't mean to sound like a dickhead when I say that, but we were definitely the smartest people in the room, and it it really worked out well. Everything was done well. Everything went right. Everything was great. So I'd love to repeat that and just feel good because that was a good piece of work, good solid piece of work. Um, the other one that was quite fun though was the 1.3 million car. That was great. That was great fun to go into a classic car showroom that's just got all these gorgeous cars which you're not allowed to take photos of. So I absolutely didn't do. Gorgeous cars, classic. Some only 20 cars in the world, and there's one sitting right there, and you're like, that was a cool job. Did you go full Kenny Rogers on us? Yeah, you got to know when to hold him. How often do you find yourself just going down a rabbit hole in comparison to getting proper leads? Everything's a rabbit hole until it's not, but everything should be looked at and checked out. That's my thought process on it. go down a rabbit hole, go down stuff, figure it out, see where you go. If it's total garbage, you're going to basically have wasted an hour, but you're going to absolutely be sure that you like it's the light bulb comment. You find 10 million ways to not make a light bulb. You're sure that it's not that person. You're sure that that's not related. You're sure that that person isn't the person that's sending harassing messages, or that's not the person behind this salt puppet account, or not the person that's breached Twitter last night. You know for a fact, rather than just assuming. So rabbit holes, yeah, it's disappointing not to get the answer you wanted, but I like rabbit holes. You know, this coming back to my inability to give up. You sit there, you want to find out more, you sit on it for a year, you basically end up with, well, nothing. But it's fun. So being able to go, hey, I've went down a rabbit hole, there's absolutely nothing here, cut it off, move on to the next target or next person. And I think that's us. Thank you for tuning in. This video should be on Twitch Video on Demand. Do you ever feel as if you've went too far? I'll answer this and then I'll go, because this is a really important question. Yes and no. Sometimes when you're doing OSINT, there's some things out there that you probably don't want other people to find, but they could if they did a little bit more than just basic low-level OSINT. If they had your phone number, your email address, your address, your date of birth, they could piece it all together. Yeah, there's been a couple of times that I found stuff that I really didn't want to see. Pornographic pictures of them and their not their other half, which is a bit weird. Yeah, there's been a few times that I thought, oh, that's a bit, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's part of the job. If you're doing it for a company, or you're contracted to do it, or you're doing it for a specific investigation, then you're gonna find stuff. Think how many people have broken into houses. Well, when I say broken into houses, and police that have broken into houses to find a suspect, only to find some really weird shit behind that front door. It's gonna happen. Like, you're gonna find weird shit. Yeah, no, listen, thanks to everybody for joining. This was only literally meant to be a, hey, I'm going to write some notes down and give it to you, and it turned into a stupid stream and me fighting with OBS and God knows what else. But no, thank you guys for turning up and actually listening to me ramble for hours. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to sign off now. This will be available on Twitch for 14 days and it should be on YouTube, but thanks. Follow me on Twitter and all that good stuff, and I'll catch you soon. See you tomorrow night. Bye, guys.